Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, I have some bonus content for you guys. The bonus content we'll be covering today will be in the sport of football inside the NFL world. In today's bonus segment, I'll be sharing my thoughts on the latest news going after two star players, that being Myles Garrett and Cooper Kupp, that could be traded as soon as possible at the beginning of the NFL offseason. So, starting off with Myles Garrett, edge rusher for the Cleveland Browns. He has requested a trade from Cleveland. He has informed the Cleveland Browns earlier this week that he wants to be traded and no longer be a part of the land in Cleveland. He wants out. And Myles Garrett is looking for a new home for the 2025 NFL regular season. So, I don't blame Myles Garrett here. Myles Garrett requesting a trade makes a lot of sense. He's in the prime of his career, and he feels like his prime years are being wasted in Cleveland. He's 29 years of age. Looking at his stats of what he's accomplished, he's a six-time Pro Bowler, four-time first team in the NFL, former Defensive Player of the Year, top 5 pass rusher in the National Football League, as a freak of nature on the defensive line as a pass rusher. Definitely an X factor in NFL games. Myles Garrett deserves better. And the fact that him and Nick Chubb, players, for example, their prime years have been wasted by the Cleveland Browns, who have traded for Deshaun Watson, gave away a lot of draft capital just for the years to be wasted. Who could blame him? He deserves to be a part of a contending team at this particular stage of his NFL career. 3 teams that stick out to me that would be good fits for Myles Garrett. That would be the Washington Commanders. They just won 12-5, went to the NFC Championship. They're in contention mode right now. Looking to win a Super Bowl out in D.C. He'll be a good fit for Dan Quinn's defensive scheme. Next would be the Buffalo Bills. Him being a part of that front 7 and that pass rushing rotation out in Buffalo will be a good fit. They're here to stay as contending teams in the AFC. And the Detroit Lions, I think it'd be a good fit playing alongside Aiden Hutchinson. Can you imagine that? Aiden Hutchinson on one side, Myles Garrett on the other side. That would be lethal out there in Detroit. But I think those 3 teams fit the bill as best fits for Myles Garrett because he wants to go to a contending team. And I think those 3 teams would be happy to have Myles Garrett. So I think those are great fits for Myles Garrett there. Now, let's go on to Cooper Kupp. What's next for Cooper Kupp? Now, the Rams look to trade Cooper Kupp this offseason. And the Rams stated earlier in the week that they will be moving on from star wide receiver Cooper Kupp. And it's all confirmed because Cooper Kupp went on social media, basically said his goodbyes to LA and the Rams, wishing that he would retire with the Rams. But that's not in the cards for the Rams as a franchise and Cooper Kupp as a player. So I understand that the NFL is a business. And it's sad to see Cooper Kupp leave the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, he helped the Rams win a Super Bowl a few years ago. It was a big part of that and was a big factor in that Super Bowl game. Him and Matthew Stafford having to step up to the plate after Odell Beckham tore his ACL against the Bengals in that game. But the connection between Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford has always been special to watch over the last few years out in LA. I mean, who could ever forget the epic Triple Crown year that Cooper Kupp had in 2021, where he led the league in receptions, led this league in receiving yards, led the league in receiving touchdowns. That is something that hardly happens in NFL history, but it happened. But I do see why the Rams want to move on from him. I mean, he's in a sticky situation contract-wise. He's set to make $20 million next year, and has some guarantees on his contract. With him, the injuries racking up on him, the mileage racking up on him as he enters his 30s. The Rams might not see Cooper Kupp as that wide receiver they once was in 2021. So it makes sense for them moving on. Plus, they got Puka Nacua to be the number 1 wide receiver for the sake of the future. But I think it would be a good second wide receiver on a contending team. That being either the Washington Commanders to play with Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. Maybe being the number 1 wide receiver out in Pittsburgh with the Pittsburgh Steelers, him and George Pickens, if they could get the quarterback position down. Or this is a wild card one. I know I just said some contending teams, but maybe he'd be a good fit playing with the New England Patriots, playing with Drake May, a young quarterback that is looking to develop in the NFL. They also got a lot of cap space and cap room to play with the New England Patriots this offseason. So it should be interesting to see where Cooper Kupp lands. I would say the Dallas Cowboys, but I don't trust Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones. But that would be a good fit for him if they could restructure his contract to play alongside CeeDee Lamb, because they need another wide receiver out there in Dallas. That's an honorable mention as well. But those are my thoughts on what could be next for these star players, Myles Garrett and Cooper Kupp this NFL offseason. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off, and I'll see you guys on next week's episode.